Welcome to the LDN Radio Show, brought to you by the LDN Research Trust. I'm your host, Linda Elsiegood. I have an exciting lineup of guest speakers who are LDN experts in their field. We will be discussing low-dose naltrexone and its many uses in autoimmune diseases, cancers, etc. Thank you for joining us. This show is sponsored by our members who made donations. We'd like to give them a very big thank you. We have to cover the monthly costs of the radio station's software, bandwidth, phone lines and phone calls to be able to continue with the radio show. And thank you for listening. Today we're joined by Cindy Kennedy from Massachusetts. And Cindy runs a website called Living with Lyme. She's a very big advocate and she helps educate people. Thank you for joining us today, Cindy.
Oh, thank you. I'm really happy to be here.
So could you tell us your Lyme story, please?
My Lyme story starts with, I'm not even sure, never met the tick who bit me, had no idea, had subtle symptoms until about 2011. And at that point, things just came crashing down. I had debilitating fatigue. I had a sleep disorder. My level of anxiety was going through the roof. And then it just continued on, being undiagnosed and searching for answers. And then I had joint swelling and flu symptoms and sore throats and mental status changes, getting, confused about things that I shouldn't get confused about, word find issues, headaches, bladder symptoms, heart palpitations. And so that was the worst, through 2011 to 2013 and 14. And it wasn't until the beginning of 2015 that I finally got to somebody who recognized that, because it's not all of these other things, and on paper I looked pretty healthy, that it had to be an infection. And so started treatment, oral antibiotics, and then went to a Lyme specialist in New York and got treated with IV antibiotics. And at one point when I had a really severe allergic reaction, 2016, I said, I can't do antibiotics anymore. I need to look elsewhere. And at that point, I've been just managing by protecting my gut and helping my immune system fight this, doing some herbal support and trying to lower my stress level and help my body detoxify. So that's where I am right now.
Mm-hmm. And what's been the protocol since you stopped the antibiotics to fight the Lyme and the co-infections?
Well, I luckily was treated for Babesia, and that really kind of settled that, and that made a big turning point for me back in 2000, I don't know what, that would have been 15. But right now I've tried general supplements. And right now I am working on a protocol from a company who produces Biocidin. And that has a number of proprietary ingredients in it, a lot of herbal support, plant-based. And I'm hoping that will give me enough edge that it will break through. I'm also working with a general homeopath in the area who does a lot of muscle testing based on kind of acupuncture points to determine either deficiencies or certain areas of the body that, when found to be weakened, are associated with different issues. So, and his products are very much homeopathic.
Mm-hmm. And do you take LDN?
I did for a period of time, and I had difficulty with the LDN because I couldn't sleep. We played around with lowering the dose or trying to take it in the morning instead of the evening. But because my sleep was so hindered and that was so critical for healing, I wasn't able to continue on with it. I did try it on 2 separate occasions, and I had great results in terms of just general body pain. And I wish that I had been able to continue on a longer protocol with it. But again, it was the sleep, and I couldn't deal with that part.
I mean, there are some people with Lyme disease who take an ultra low dose of LDN when they have things like Lyme disease or fibromyalgia, even chronic fatigue.
Right. And
how low did you go?
And unfortunately, the first round was about 3 months, or maybe even a little bit longer, because it took a while to get up to the higher dose. And probably the second time through was maybe a couple of months.
Okay.
And this is the problem.
Yeah.
People are not educated enough.
Well, what I was trying to ask you, that I think you must have misunderstood, was, people with Lyme disease, as I say, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, usually start on an ultra low dose and don't increase the dose until their body has accepted it. So, for example, if your sleep is all over the place and you started at 0.001 and then wait until you can feel that, okay, I'm no worse than when I started, at least give yourself 2 weeks and then increase by another minuscule amount and just keep doing that, but never increase the dose if your symptoms are worse than when you started. Now, there are some people who find they have to stay on 1 milligram. If they go any higher, they don't feel as good. So I was just wondering if you, A, started low enough, and 2, did you increase the dose too quickly? I mean, what dose did you get up to in the 2 months and 3 months that you tried it?
I'm trying to recall. But again, when I said that the providers are not educated enough, their goal was to get me, as what they thought, to the beneficial dose, which may have been 4 milligrams.
Yes,
I'm trying to recall.
Yes, but the beneficial dose is the dose that suits you best. There isn't a
right. So where were you? Where were you when I needed you?
Well, all I'm thinking is, you help educate people on Lyme disease, and the lectures that I've heard, and Lyme was a big topic at the LDN 2017 conference. Doctors are doing extremely well with Lyme, but as I say, it has to be tailored to the patient. It has to be very, very low, increased very, very slow, and you don't have to go up to a higher dose. And maybe even, Cindy, we can persuade you to try again and do it very gradually and see if, you can get the benefits from LDN.
My biggest problem right now is fatigue. I'm fortunate enough that the joint issues have settled down. So in terms of a pain tolerance or a pain issue, that isn't quite my problem. If I could find something to keep my stamina and help my endurance and help me to exercise, that would be what I need.
Yes, but that is what people say LDN does for them, especially with chronic fatigue syndrome, that it gives them the energy. Instead of lying on the sofa all day, they can actually go back to work. There's lots of interviews on our Vimeo channel that you can actually listen to of people saying how their chronic fatigue has gone with LDN. But it's something you can think about. It's entirely up to you.
Definitely.
It makes no difference to me whether you try it or not. But if you did it in the right way, start low, slow, and see how you are. If you needed any help finding a doctor to help you with that, I'd be more than willing to do that. But can you just tell people about your website, how they can find you and contact you via your website for help and information?
Absolutely. The website is www.livingwithlyme.us. It is a little over 3 months old. I ask people to subscribe to the website so they get current updates when there is a blog written or when we've released a new podcast. We have just released the 11th podcast, and I've had a really very good response from people. I've had people contact me because my email is listed on the webpage. And pointing people in the direction of help is always an issue because general population, general mainstream medicine, very difficult to get primary cares to look at this seriously. Finding a Lyme literate doctor means you're waiting a long time. So we're trying to at least establish and help people by starting them on some form of an herbal protocol. And then hoping that they can, through the International Lyme and Associated Disease or LymeDisease.org, find a provider that they can get in as soon as possible. But I'm really excited because it's a way for me, and I'm quoted all the time in life. I got a lemon, I got Lyme disease, so I'm making lemonade. And my lemonade provides me the ability to connect with a wide variety of people who are affected, have been infected, people who are doing research on Lyme disease, and trying to get people educated so that if there are symptoms, their friend, their family member, themselves, they can actually go to their primary care doctor and say, no, this is what I think it is, and actually support their treatment by saying, you know what, this is what's in the database for treatment. It's not just a single dose, or it's not just 2 weeks or 3 weeks. It's longer, and it depends on how someone feels. If I had gotten treated longer than 21 days, I told the doctor I was seeing at that time, I'm 75% better. And his response is, well, I don't know. I don't know why. So if I had only had somebody who was literate in this field, it probably wouldn't be where I am today. And maybe I wouldn't have started my podcast and website. So I don't know. It's a little bit hard to decide if it's good or bad, but I'm a nurse practitioner. I can decipher a lot of the information medically and blog a little bit. I'm a little behind in that right now, but there's great questions out there that people send to me, and I hope to help as many people as I can. We've actually been listened to in 17 countries, albeit only one person in Japan, but still, it still counts as a country.
Well, I don't know whether you know, but the LDN Research Trust made a Lyme disease documentary, and it was finished early this year. It's been edited and it's about to be released before Christmas, so I'll send you the link to that.
Wonderful.
Some amazing doctors.
That would be great.
Yes, perhaps you can share it with your patients. That might be of interest.
Oh, absolutely. I'll definitely put it out on my Facebook page and Twitter. And then actually, I can actually, at some point when you have the ability to let me hear this podcast, then possibly I can take it and put it as a blog on my website as well.
Yes, certainly we can do that. And thank you very much for joining us today, Cindy. It was a pleasure.
Oh, Linda, it was really nice. It was very, very nice. And, the more people that we educate, the more people that can really advocate for themselves. And I don't know, it's just a really rough time.
It certainly is. Thank you very much.
All right, you take care now.
This show is sponsored by our members who made donations. We'd like to give them a very big thank you. We have to cover the monthly costs of the radio station's software, bandwidth, phone lines and phone calls to be able to continue with the radio show. And thank you for listening. Any questions or comments you may have, please email me, Linda, Linda, at ldnrt.org. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for joining us today. We really appreciated your company. Until next time, stay safe and keep well.